Set the beat off flow. Whoa.
What is going on, everybody? It is time. We have hit the mark. We are ready for the Money Match Gaming podcast. I am part of your co-host team, the Infinite, aka Lance, aka the CEO of Money Match Gaming. My co-host over to my left.
Dang, dude.
Well, it's actually because I wanted to do that, and then you're like, nah, brother. But anyways, my co-host Dan Estrata. Dan Estrata, let him know.
What's up? What's up? It is me, Dan Estrata, the co-host for the Money Match Gaming podcast talk show, extravaganza, spectacular Christmas special, Thanksgiving parade. That's what this is. This is the Thanksgiving Day parade. And yes, we are talking today about a movie called Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. If you don't know, this is a part of the Harry Potter extended universe. And it is a sequel to the movie Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which I think is not based off of a book. Like, there is a book called that, but it's the book that the main character in the movie is writing, I believe. Anyway, but yes, this is in the next movie in the Fantastic Beasts series of movies, and it's called The Crimes of Grindewald. It is directed by David Yates. It is starring Eddie Redmayne, who plays Newt Scamander, Johnny Depp, who plays the titular Grindelwald, Jude Law, who plays a young, fashionable Albus Dumbledore, Zoe Kravitz, who plays Leta Lestrange, Ezra Miller, who plays Credence, and a bunch of people. When I told my mom I was going to see this movie, she was like, "Oh, you're going to see the movie with all the people in it?" And I was just like, well, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much every movie, but also, yes, there's a lot of people in this movie, a lot of characters, and yeah, That's the background. You want to give a little plot
Sure.
description?
So, in an effort to thwart Grindelwald's plans of raising pureblood wizards to rule over all non-magical beings, Albus Dumbledore enlists his former student Newt Scamander, who agrees to help. Scamander. Okay, cool, thanks. Who agrees to help, unaware of the dangers that lie ahead. Lines are drawn as love and loyalty are tested, even among the truest friends and family, and an increasing divide wizarding world. I don't know why I said it that way, but I did. And, that's kind of the gist of it, man. So off to general thoughts. Now, I believe I shot it off to you last time, so I guess it's time for me to start with my general thoughts about the movie. One thing you should know about our discussions about, movies and all that other stuff, there is spoilers. We're discussing the movie. We're explaining how we feel, think, and all that other stuff. So if you want to go, I want to watch the movie, catch it later, you can catch it on YouTube. I do post it up, usually right the day of. Sometimes, I get a little distracted by other things, but today should be the day that it just goes straight up. There's nothing else going on. So, I'll start my general thoughts, I would say it's not a bad movie, but I feel like it's lacking a lot of depth. And I know it's a part of a 5-movie series.
Is that how many movies? I don't know how movies are.
I looked it up. That's how confused I was at the end of this movie, that I was like, all right, I guess I better scour the internet so I understand what's going on. So it's a 5-movie series, which I kind of go, okay, I'll give you a little credit that it's a 5-movie series. The first one felt like the end of an act. This one, not so much. It was just extremely glassed over pretty much every character in the movie. And I don't know, we keep doing this. This is the second movie this month that we've watched. And I'm kind of watch the whole thing. And I'm like, man, I could use a lot more information about this. I deserve a little bit more in-depth explanation of some of the most important plot points of the whole movie, which is okay, you're going to go into purebloods? Well, show us some pureblood families, and that's how I felt after the movie. But or that's how I felt during the movie. But after the movie, when I looked it up, it's a 5-movie series. I imagine we will get some pureblood families and all that other stuff. But that's definitely how I generally felt after the movie. When I watch, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Here's my problem with this movie. It doesn't make me want to watch the rest of the movies. It makes me kind of want to be like, oh, well, this is just going to continue going more down and downhill, because the first movie I thought was pretty good. It was an enjoyable movie. It felt like a movie by it. It could stand alone as a movie. If they didn't greenlight it for all these sequels, it could have been okay. But then they did, I guess, greenlight it for all these sequels. And we have this movie, which just doesn't, it feels like the first episode of a season from a show, it didn't feel like a movie. It was long enough to be a movie. It's a long ass movie, but nothing truly yes, important plot points happen, but everything was still so vague.
Really? That's exactly how I felt. And that's how me and my wife felt when we left the movie, because I went as a whole family thing. We sat down and my wife was like, "What I just watched?" And I was like,
I can't answer that question.
I don't know. And it's I went back and I watched a couple of YouTube people explain some of the different types of situations. And to me, the first movie feels like an installment. It feels like an act on its own. That movie can be a standalone, like you mentioned.
Right.
This one's supposed to be an extension, but it doesn't feel that way at all.
No,
my connection,
everything is disjointed. Nothing there's every character is connected in a way, but they're all so separate at all times that it's so hard to tell whose alliances lie where, who's a good guy, who's a bad guy, who's doing what and for what reasons. The only clear good guys and bad guys you have is Albus Dumbledore. You can assume he is the all good because he's the good in the Harry Potter series. So you have to kind of have that knowledge to know he's the good guy. And then you have Grindelwald, who is, the bad guy. Right?
But you don't always feel like he is. I don't, at least I
No, well, because he's a good talker. Like any good bad guy, he can make you sympathize with his plight. But the way he goes about doing things is what makes him the bad guy.
Right. You know, but pretty much everybody else except Newt. Newt's the only guy that would be like, oh, he's a good guy. Everybody else, I'm like,
Right? Yeah. Well, he's like the on the scale. He's like chaotic good, or like, yeah, chaotic good. He's just the goodest good. No, maybe chaotic good is not right. I forget. Lawful good. There you go. Lawful good.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
the lawful good guy.
Correct.
But everybody else, like, even his brother, you're like, shit, good guy, he's a bad guy. They hugged at the beginning, but he's
right, yeah.
He's saying some shit, so I don't know, like.
Right, and then like on top of it, it just felt like Newt was so uncomfortable around his brother, you know, and it's his family
around anyone, and like Eddie Redmayne did a good job. I think he does a good job playing this character, but I think he's just a pretty good actor who can act like. I don't want to say weird person because I don't want to be like offensive like that, but you know, like a weird person. I don't know, like someone
but like a weird person.
Yeah, like someone with like, and I don't mean. See now, because now the way I'm gonna like explain it makes it sound even more offensive, but like a little bit of like an Asperger's syndrome type deal. Like, and I don't mean that people with Asperger's are weird. I'm just saying like the mannerisms are different, and he can portray that very well, whereas a lot of actors probably can't do as well. You know, they go too far into like the simple Jack from fucking Tropic Thunder Waters, which is no bueno.
No bueno. But, you know, like, I don't know, there was just like a bunch of weird relationships, and they never explain any relationship. And I feel like that's what kind of does that weird thing in this movie to where you don't have any attachments.
Yeah.
They're random events happening, and like, you know, they're like important, you know, and you kind of see kind of some of the things that they're headed towards with the pure bloodlines and all that other stuff. But at the same time, you're like, all right, well, you've explained nothing about these families. You know, okay, Dumbledore's a pure blood family. Cool.
Yeah, and then to the end, yeah, like, this is spoiler alert from the very end when you see that Credence is Dumbledore's brother. Like, was there a mention of that before? I don't remember there being like Dumbledore's got this crazy powerful little brother that doesn't know is his little brother.
Well, I looked it up. You know, this I was so confused. I looked it up, and you know, they kind of mentioned it. That there's got to be like 3 different types of situations that happen. Either Dumbledore never comes into contact with his brother, mm-hmm. B, it never comes to the public light, so he never mentions it, or I forgot the third one. But they were kind of like, you know, that was one of the plot things that they felt like, you know, J.K. Rowling needed to explain, you know, throughout the series, because it's never once mentioned about, you know. It's Aurelius, right? Is that his name?
Yeah, I think
something like that.
They call him Credence all movies, so I don't know what his Dumbledorean name is, but they give it to him. They say it. That's like the last words in the movie.
Yeah, that was kind of it, you know. So like, you know,
it's like, oh, Dumbledore, I know that guy.
Right, and it's like you don't though, because you don't really know too much about
Dumbledore.
Shit.
You know, future Dumbledore, who's like an old man and wears robes all the time. You don't know sharp dressed Dumbledore, okay?
None of that. And so, like, what
you know, he's gay, and
I do.
Very clear that he has feelings towards Grindelwald, or at least did, and they might have experimented a little bit with each other. That was like, correct. That was kind of clear in the movie, but that was it.
I don't think it was. I don't know why she like sprinkles that in like that.
I kind of understood it when because I knew he was gay before. Like, that was Dumbledore being gay was a thing for a while. So when she was like, oh, you knew him like a brother, and he was like, a little bit better than a brother, and I was like, oh, butt stuff, cool.
Yeah, and I picked up on that as well, because I remember you telling me that, and I actually did see an interview with J.K. Rowling in it, because again, I was so confused. I was like, I need to look some things up. She mentions that he's gay, but she does the same thing she does in the movie. Well, not technically her, but like, she kind of glosses over it. I don't know why it's such like a weird underlying topic that she doesn't really fully explore in this sense, you know, and that's weird to me.
Because I guess it doesn't affect his character too much. I think if, like you said, these movies are going 5 series, I'm sure there will be some sort of dialogue between Dumbledore and Grindelwald where they discuss their previous relationship or something to that effect.
Right. I even picked up on it a little bit when, you know, Grindelwald was talking about it a little bit, to where he was talking to, I can never remember her name.
The blonde girl?
The blonde girl, to where he was like, free to love who you want to love, basically.
Yeah.
You know, and like, kind of danced around that a little bit, you know, and like for a while there in the movie I was like, oh, must be talking about her, but in reality I think he's actually talking about himself, you
That's
know,
possible.
which I thought was kind of like a neat plot twist, because when it was said it started sinking in a little bit, and I started really thinking about some of the things that you've said in the past, and I was like, oh yeah, like that's actually kind of cool, and this could get a little interesting. But I don't know, you know, like just the simple things that we brought up, really, I have not a whole lot of positive things to say about it. You know, I mean, outside of it having, you know, a 5-movie series, like, cool, we'll get more, but like that was it. The rest is kind of me just nitpicking at that a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
like it's just nothing of substance.
No, not at all. I mean, like, the movie looked beautiful. It was a great looking movie. I saw it in IMAX. It looked really good. But that's like where my attachment to this movie kind of ended. Like, I was just like, oh man, this is a really pretty movie. A lot of cool stuff they're doing with the visual effects. But then I left the theater and I was just like, ugh. Like,
So what happened? Like,
yeah,
what
like,
actually
why did I watch
progressed
this?
in the story at all? You know,
Yeah.
and like that's just kind of how I felt, and like, you know, a lot like, you know, when we saw Venom and stuff, when we were reviewing that and having discussions about that, you know, it was just like there's so many lost opportunities in the movie. Like, okay, if you're gonna go the Lestrange route and we're gonna go into the detail of that, can I at least actually know about the family? Can I at least understand why their purebloods are better than other
we know
purebloods? And
in future time, Bellatrix Lestrange is a big character, which means that someone of the Lestrange lineage has to survive.
right, and I'm
But like, Lita, she dies, right?
I'm guessing, like,
I don't know who Bellatrix. Like, there's the problem with this movie is it requires too much outside research to understand what you watched, which is sometimes okay, but also not very friendly to the audience.
I agree. I agree. It was just it just bothered me, you know, like that I just had no idea, like, about these families that are apparently really really important to the storyline. Like, please enlighten me, explore a little bit, you know, don't just make a chain of events happen, you know. It's just like, you know, it's just like it really bothered me that, you know, I don't know her name. Like, I just remember the last names because that's how glossed over all the characters feel in this movie, you know. But like the girl Lestrange, you know, like, why did the original guy of the family, so the guy, you know, the other black dude who's,
Yeah,
like, he's Lestrange too, right?
he is.
So it's like, which,
Corvus, I think his name is.
okay, something along those lines, you know. It just felt like, which one's the Lestrange? See, this is how confusing it got. Which one's the Lestrange?
They're both Lestrange. They're
So it
just
was the-
both they're both bastards essentially. Well,
Okay.
that's not true. Corvus is actually the third one that was born. I forget what the other one, the black dude's name is. Black dude was the first one was born, and he kind of just like let the mom die or something. I don't see. That's the thing.
Where's the dad?
Yeah.
That's what I'm alluding to. That's what I'm
The
trying
dad,
to get to.
yeah, the dad is the white-haired guy. I don't even know. They said what his name was, but I don't remember what his name was. But
Right.
he's the Lestrange.
Right. So it was like the white dude was the Lestrange. So the black dude from the other prominent family, is he a Lestrange too? Like, I didn't think so.
Yes,
I thought,
that's his dad.
okay, then the only reason that the girl's somewhat
I don't know, or maybe, yeah, no. He's not a Lestrange. He's not.
I thought so. I thought that was
he's
the
not a
case.
Lestrange. Zoe Kravitz is, and Corvus is, and Corvus, Zoe Kravitz kills on the boat
Right. So it was.
for crying too much. They switched it off. She switched it off for the other baby, as kids do on sinking ships.
Right. That's kind of intense, by the way. I mean, I wouldn't blame her. I don't know if that'd weigh on my heart too much, to be honest. You know, like.
Well, when I was a kid, I traded my
Yeah.
little brother for another one, and
Right.
it died.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would probably weigh on me. I think that would lay on me. I don't think I would be able to keep that secret for as long as she did. I think like the next day I'd be like, by the way, this is some other guy. My bad. I didn't expect us all to die on this boat. I
Right.
just wanted some peace and quiet.
Right. I was a little. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't feel like it was that evil. It was obviously a mistake and something that, she shouldn't have did, I guess, to a degree. 1 second. My little girl decided to interrupt.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I'm not taking a baby.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't have felt like too crazy bad to a degree, but I understand it. To like, I don't know. It's just she had such a messed up situation that I feel like anybody would kind of make a mistake like that. You could even tell by the way the little girl acted, like, oh, I'm lost in the sauce, and I don't really know what to do, and I don't really feel in danger. Let me casually walk into this other room where this kid's being kind of left by himself on a sinking ship. To begin with, swap kids,
Yeah,
ride on the boat all peacefully, then watch another kid drown. And I'm kind of like, that's kind of like really weird to a degree, So I was like, I don't know. This movie is just all over the place. Hold on.
So was the kid that she took that ended up being Credence? Is that what they were saying, or was there who was the kid they took?
Dumbledore's brother.
All right, that was Dumbledore's brother. Okay,
right. And they brought up like,
so Dumbledore should know he has a brother because
they mentioned that it could possibly be a ship of bastards, and this was like hush hush secrets for pure blood families and stuff, gotcha. Which would explain why all these affluent people were on the boat to begin with. And it didn't look like the boat was sinking. Like, I hated that, like, we don't know, like, why the boat is in the condition it's in. We don't even know truly if it's sinking. That whole scene was just really weird.
Man. This whole movie didn't make fucking lick of sense.
Right. And I was
really bothering. Really bothering.
Yeah. That's like the end, man. That's like all I really have to say, because that's everything that's important, because it's like
oh, and on top of that, they've I feel like they didn't take into the grand timeline of Harry Potter into account. I didn't notice this because I'm not like the hugest Potterhead out there, but I know people on Twitter who are, and Professor McGonagall is in this movie. Like, there's at one point when Dumbledore is teaching his class, and then all the the people from the ministry come in, and he's like, McGonagall, get them out. You remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that scene.
Yeah, she's supposed to be -8 during that time period. So somehow she is 20 years older than she's supposed to be during that time period in that movie.
That sucks, because people aren't going to let that go down.
Oh, they will not let it go.
No, they're not letting that go.
But there's also people out there being like, why did Dumbledore forget how to dress, when he got old? Why did he start going to wizard robes when he dressed so handsome as a younger person?
Right. In the rolling 60s. I mean, ideas evolve,
20s, dog.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. That's me and how I feel about this movie. It's a big ass question mark, So like, I thought you felt the same way when I asked you for the image. Like, yeah, just a confused face, and then
I'm glad you said that. I was just like, okay, great. Totally at all either. I don't feel bad at all.
Yeah, it was just, and then it just came.
I was like, for some reason, I felt like we were gonna come here and you're gonna be like, especially after the beginning of this, like your thing, and you were just like, this was a pretty good movie, and I was just like,
I mean, good in the sense that it's visually appealing.
Yeah,
it has all the things that it needs to be fantastic to a lot of different people.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to call it terrible. It's
the story needs to be there to be fantastic to more people, I think.
Right. It just lacks depth. But
this is just beasts where to find them, not fantastic beasts.
Correct. And I don't know. It's just like. But I had this problem with the entire series to begin with, to be honest. I feel like they don't explain very much, but, people are like, well, read the books. And I'm like, I'm not.
There's no books for these. We don't have that option.
I was like, I'm not going to read the other Harry Potter books because, I was just talking to
the Harry Potter books the Harry Potter movies are not so bad. And they all kind of have beginnings and ends, you know?
Right. They're full arcs.
Other than the one that's like part 1 and part 2, where you can watch part 1 and be like, wow, I just watched 3 kids walk in the forest for 3 hours. Good movie.
But I mean, it ends with an actual conclusion, and like it's progressing an actual story. This one's kind of like, I don't know, things happened. A dude gave a speech, and then giant.
And it sort of had a conclusion where he was like, hey, I picked a side and I'm on your side. Here's your blood oath. And he's like, let's go get tea. Bam, bam, bam. Credits.
I mean, I don't know. That's not like a wham bam case closed type of situation. That's okay. It's time to begin the story.
They call those cliffhangers. It's a cliffhanger.
I wouldn't call that a cliffhanger. Nothing truly exciting happened at the end. It was 2 dudes walking.
He got his blood oath back. Now he can fight Grindelwald face to face.
Right, and Dumbledore's brother blew up a mountain.
Oh yeah, that happened to you.
And I always thought that like wands were specific, and that you kind of need to find your wand, and that the only true wand.
That's actually, I don't know if that's true or not. Now that I think about it, because Ron had that dumb wand. You like wands can be bad. I think you just buy a wand. I don't think that's the one that chooses you.
Okay, so they're like special wands that choose you, and then there's general purpose wands and stuff. And I'm not saying that you couldn't use someone else's wand, because they definitely didn't make that apparent in the actual story itself.
People use other people's wands all the time.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing for like one of the things for the last Harry Potter was Voldemort had like the wand with the 3 like bulges on it. And he's the bulge wand. I don't know what the fuck it was called, but
it's in this one too. Grindelwald has it.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. And that was like one of those things, and he stole it from the wizard dude. Apparently he was bragging about having that ultra wand.
What are his powers, by the way?
Grindelwald?
Like, yeah.
They don't explain anything. Like, like he does magic.
They're like, he's very convincing. They're like, but does he like use magic to convince people, or is he just like, hey man, do it? And they're like, I like the cut of your jib. Let me go ahead and do that for you.
Let me get that done. Oh, before we go, like there's that one part where he asked one of his subordinates, will you be here with us? Why'd he burn him up? They never explained that at all. I don't understand what his beef was.
Because the dude was questioning him, and he didn't like being questioned. So he's like, fuck you. I don't need your loyalty. You're a bitch.
You think that was it?
Yeah, he basically thought he was like a dirty rat. So he was like, no, I'm not keeping you around.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad it was that
That's
simple.
the way I understood it. I mean, that's
the
only thing it could have been for. As far as it was explained in that movie, that's the only thing that made sense. Like, the dude was like being too questiony and come uppy, and everybody was like, yo, you're harshing our vibe. He's like, it's fine. I'll take care of him when the fire comes.
Right. It was just like, and like, I don't know, when you think somebody's a rat, why wait so long? That was like 2 days to where you're like, am I really gonna kill this guy?
Well, yeah. I mean, he didn't just want to straight up and kill him, because he's trying to tell people, he's like, hey man, I don't just kill people, right? I just go around killing everybody all willy nilly. Until the end of the movie, where he's like, I'm gonna go around killing people all willy nilly.
Right, and that scene was a little weird too, because why were Newt and his brother defending against the fire, and everybody else was like, we're just helpless? I was like, like
they didn't have their wands, they forgot their wands at home.
I mean, they all had wands, like, for sure. I don't know, that portion was just really, really weird. Like this is like makes me feel like Dragon Ball Z, to where it's like you don't understand people's power levels and what makes them so strong, and why anybody uses a different power wave. Like, shouldn't one energy beam be just as good as another energy beam type of deal? And that's kind of where I'm at. So he has like the special wand, but like, they don't really hype up Newt as the greatest wizard of all time. Like
they hype him up that he's pretty good because like everybody wants him on their team,
I suppose to a degree.
But yeah, I don't think it's that he's like the greatest wizard of all time. More so that he is a good enough wizard when he has to be, and he's got this really extensive collection of very, very rare beasts that in the wrong hands could probably fuck some shit up.
Right. I guess we could go roll with that, So
Yeah.
I was,
But,
he just didn't seem like super fantastic, and I think he like the way they set up the plot and everything toward Dumbledore's like, you know what I like about you? You're an honest guy, and everybody knows you're an honest guy, which is why when I task you with something like this, I'm gonna get an honest response. So let me roll the dice. Like that's what it feels like to me when Dumbledore does that. Like, let me roll the dice. You're a stand-up guy. Go for it. Yeah, it'll be fun. You'll find stuff. You'll explore. Yeah. And then like disappears. And I was like, I guess.
Also, half of these characters weren't in the first movie, right?
I think Grindelwald's posse wasn't.
Grindelwald, but was Zoe Kravitz and Eddie Redmayne like was Lita Lestrange and the other Scamander were they in the movie?
No.
But then they introduce us into this movie and they're like, oh, clearly these two are hitting it out. Like, who are these people?
Right, and they didn't even explore Newt's relationship with her because I was kind of quite curious why
she was into him.
Yeah,
he's kind of autistic. He's not always interested in everybody. I don't know what his deal is, man.
No, he liked her. I don't know about
her, but
loving,
I think he liked her as a friend. I don't think he like saw any sort of romantic attraction to her. He realized that she needed a friend, and he was willing to be her friend. I guess maybe I don't know.
Who knows?
He likes Tina.
Right.
I think that's her name.
Yeah, it is. Who knows why? I guess to a degree. Like, I don't know.
Because she's also got like the same quirks that he does. I don't know. Anyway, let's give it a score.
All right, let's give it a score. I'll give it a go first this time.
Go
I'm going to give it middle of the road. Now, for those who don't know, like I rate movies based on a 1 to 10 scale. 5 is dead center in the middle, and that's where I'm at. I'd give it a 5.
I am also at right dead in the middle, but I'm at 2.5 out of 5. I thought about giving it a 2, but then I realized I gave The Girl in the Spider's Web a 2, and I like that a lot less than I like this movie.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give this a 2.5, and like pretty much all of those points are from the visuals. Like they're very visually appealing movie. It looked really cool. They did a lot of cool things with the visuals, but that's it.
Yeah, it was lacking a lot of story, a lot of depth, a lot of character development, a lot of proper introductions, a lot of, hey, these are how these things connect. It was just like, nah, here's some googly moogly stuff.
There's a lot of different storylines going all at once. Have fun trying to connect them. You can't.
So,
but then at the end, they're all gonna meet up in the same death trap.
Right, indeed. Who knows, man? Who knows? But that kind of does it for us. Please be sure to go check out the movie. It was at the very. Oh, you didn't do watch or no watch?
Oh, I mean, this is a hard one to say. Like, don't watch if you have no interest in Harry Potter or anything like that. Watch if you do, I guess. Like, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm not gonna like. This is a middle movie in a series, so it's really hard to tell people to like. You've never seen any movies in the series? Start with this one, the most confusing one. So.
Right. I don't mean like I feel like a lot of series do have duds in the series, I don't think the original one did though, even though you're mentioning the one where they're walking through the forest. I actually did feel satisfied with what everything happened.
I liked 3, I liked 4, I liked the last one. I didn't like I liked 1 and 2 initially, but in hindsight, they're a little too like cheery and happy and like little kiddish when you go back on watching them, whereas all the rest of them have like this kind of like darker tone to them. 5 I thought was boring. 6 I actually never even saw, and the first part of 7 was good, like it was a decent movie, but nothing happens. You can't go in that movie expecting much to happen because it doesn't.
The one where they bring in all those other schools was
that's the Triwizard Tournament. That's the 4th one.
I like the 4th one.
4th one's cool
because I was like, oh man, they're about to start opening this up. It's about to get really cool.
Yeah, and then they close that door.
They closed it really way too fast, and I was like, oh, Okay. This is what we do now.
Yep.
We dangle all the cool things about this universe in front of you, and then
Yep.
we go, nah,
Never
brother.
build upon it again, because the only person like Voldemort only cares about one guy. It's killing Harry Potter.
Correct.
Everybody else, whatever. Forget him.
Yeah.
There's schools all over the place. Who cares? We're talking about this guy, okay?
They're strong too? Oh, goodness gracious. But no, not for you. Not today. Not today. But once again, that does it for us. We will be on break next week because of the Thanksgiving. And then we'll review. You give me that face.
Wait, no, I thought we were doing the double one just later on in the week next week.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, sorry.
Because if we cancel next week, then the next episode we come back with would be the December episode.
Mm-hmm.
So we wouldn't be able to do the two things that we have planned for next week, which is Wreck-It Ralph review and
Gaming Awards.
Gaming Awards, which is on Thursday. So we can do the podcast on Wednesday or Tuesday.
Great, yeah. That'll work. So you will catch us. It'll be a different day. But outside of that, I'll see you guys later.